Hi, welcome to Seymour's World. I'm Seymour Kazimirski at ThinkTech Hawaii. We are having sort of an anniversary today, and that is my first show ever on Seymour's World was with Jimmy Borges. Jimmy Borges, an old friend of mine, a pioneer in jazz here in Hawaii and some parts of the mainland. He's called Keeper of the Flame, which is an amazing term that we're going to go into. But I'm not going to tell you about Jimmy because Jimmy can tell you himself. Jimmy, welcome to Seymour's World
Seymour,
again.
thank you.
This is our second appearance together.
It is. And what I really have to say is, everything's coming up roses.
So there, I don't have to say anything. There is Jimmy Borges for you.
I just had to do that.
I love it, I love it. I hope you're going to sing some more because I'll bet you I'm going to get some calls pretty soon for people to say, hey, can he sing a few more bars of something here and there? So maybe we can do it. Jimmy, you and I have known each other for almost 40 years now.
We go way back.
1976.
When you first came back to Hawaii.
Yes, 1976. And we've gone through a lot together, too.
We sure have.
Our different businesses and your different locations where you played. We would follow you from spot to spot and all the jazz clubs that you played at. But I want to refresh people's memory. First of all, you were born here in Hawaii, right?
I was born here. And I left here when I was 11 and a half years old, moved to Oakland, California. And my father was working in the insurance business. So he was transferred from the office here to the one in San Francisco. So we lived in Oakland. Oakland was like the
Be careful,
bedroom.
Jimmy. Be careful now.
No, it was at that time, back in the 40s, late 40s. It was a bedroom of San Francisco. Nice, a lot of gingerbread homes and a lot of fruit trees in East Oakland, and it was really quite nice living. My father bought our brand new home there for like $17,000.
Oh my God.
$17,000, 1947.
Wow.
Yeah, that was 1947. I was 11 and a half. I loved it. So I had two worlds. My Hawaiianness was here. I grew up, I was 11 and a half. My Hawaiianness was already set. But my pubescence was in the mainland. And so I really had the best of both worlds. I didn't leave any girlfriends here when I left and all that.
Oh, I met a few of those, Jimmy.
Yeah, you have? Oh,
yes,
okay.
at the days of the New York Deli.
Oh, my goodness. Every night I bring one.
Every night you were at the New York Deli. We had a wonderful time there. It was
well, I had to take them for good food, and that made them a lot more acquiescent.
Be careful, yes. Jimmy, let's talk about your career. You are truly the pioneer of jazz. You're, can I say your age? Or
oh, not at all. Not a problem.
You are 80 now?
I'd be 80 in June 1st.
In June 1st. This young man sitting next to me is going to be 80 years old. Can you believe it? And he credits it to the pastrami and the corned beef that he had at the New York Deli.
Yes, and it was the girl who served it, actually.
Yes. Jimmy, you've done so much. Your career started in Hawaii, then it went to the mainland, then back here to Hawaii. Tell us a little bit about the career.
I've been an entertainer. This is my 60th year as a singer, as a performer. And I started professionally in 1955. When I moved away, like I say, with my family and my dad, I grew up in the Bay Area and San Francisco area. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because that was a hotbed of jazz, which I loved. I grew up loving the big bands and the records that my mother had from the wartime years when the GIs would give her those records and stuff like that. And that's what I grew up on. I loved the Hawaiian stuff because my dad played it all the time, but the music that really got to me was jazz. And by moving at the age of 11, and going to San Francisco and all that, I was in the House of Jazz. Johnny Mathis was my classmate, and I was at El Jarreau and all these, Freddie Hubbard, all these big stars. I had no idea. I was working in a nightclub. They hired me in a nightclub, and they hired these three African-American guys to back me up. And the guys that were backing me up, in retrospect and looking back, they were the Montgomery brothers, like Wes Montgomery. Wow. I mean, we're talking about legends, and they were backing up a guy who nobody even knew, even in Oakland,
They didn't know who Jimmy Borges was.
But the owners liked me, and they hired these guys to back me up. And these guys were unknown at that time, too. But that's how I learned. I learned and I made my mistakes in the mainland. Nowadays, kids really don't have a chance to learn how to. You need to make mistakes to learn what not to do as you go along in life.
You're right, and I think one of the reasons I asked you to come back, because we had so many comments about your first show. You know,
Oh,
the
how
first
nice.
show we only had 800 viewers at the. No, it was actually 670
600.
viewers at the time, and now we have close to 8,000 viewers.
Wow.
So I want people to understand what it's like to create a business, to stick with it, because you have stuck with the music business
Yes.
for 60 years.
The
That's a
answer
long time.
is to be intrepid and never, ever, ever think failure. If you even think that word, you will fail. There's no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as failure. All you have to do is hit, when something stops you, that's only a speed bump. It's a speed bump. It's not a stop sign. So you get up, you wipe your okoli, go again. You go again, go again, go again, until you find the goal that fits the impetus. Okay, so this is what you want to do. I want to be a singer. And I want to do it here. I want to do it at the Latin Quarter, and I want to sing this kind of thing. My background is such that it's only this, and the place that I want to go is that big. So I go there, and it doesn't fit. Now you have to refine your goal. You refine the mechanism as to how you get there until it actually fits. When it fits, you are a success. I am one of the greatest successes you'll ever meet. And why? Because when I started off in this business, all I wanted to do was two things. I wanted to sing for a living, and I wanted to get paid for it. That's it. I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to get paid. And by the time in 1955, when I started, I was getting $25 a weekend. $25 a weekend. That was gross. And it was gross. But you know what? I was so thrilled. I was singing, and I was getting paid for it. And to me, that was success. I wasn't in the business to become a star. I wasn't in the business to become the second Frank Sinatra or this and that. I was there to sing professionally and to get paid for it. That was my job.
It was also your passion, Jimmy.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
time we would hear you sing for all the years, you have as much passion singing New York, New York today as you did 30 years ago.
I do.
I know you do. I can tell. You don't take it for granted. And I want our audience to realize that you're not showboating here. You are explaining how young people can move themselves forward by just thinking positive.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know, you have another career, and that's, you could be the Dale Carnegie of Hawaii. I mean, you could sell anything the way you just gave us that.
And
that
yet
was
I don't
wonderful.
like that part. The only thing I like about selling is telling the truth. That's all it is telling the truth as you know it. So in my singing, when I take a lyric, I just want to tell the truth as it is now in this
Wonderful.
moment. And that's it. And I want to tell my story so that you interpret it your way and you take it home. And when you think of Jimmy Borges 20 years from now, you're not going to remember the voice. You'll remember the story I told.
One of the important reasons I had you here was quite personal. Jimmy and I are both involved in our program called Make 'Em Smile. Jimmy is one of our directors. He started the program with me. And right now we have, Jimmy's holding up the CD that we have. We have 32 musicians who are part of the Make 'Em Smile program. And some of them are very, very big name musicians like Mailani and Lala Sayers. And some of them are just cabaret singers or they sing in little clubs. And what Jimmy's story just did in the last 5 minutes is to help you understand what it takes to get to the goal that you want. You may not want to be a lofty performer in New York. You just may want to stay where you are, and that's okay, as long as you can have a reachable goal. You agree, Jimmy?
You have a reachable goal, and you have to have, again, you use that word, and that's the one I use all the time, is passion. You have to have a passion for what you're doing. And it doesn't matter if it's just singing or dancing or being something like what Seymour is, you know, a person who helps everybody succeed. He helps people succeed. And boy, you can't get better than that. But there's a passion that goes with that. And without the passion, they know. People can tell.
I agree.
When it's there or when it's not there.
I think one of the major points that we have to understand is that you didn't just have a music career, you had an acting career as well.
That came of a...
Well, I like it because I've seen you on Hawaii Five-0 many, many times. In the old days, too, not just recently. Tell us about that.
Well, Jack Lord came to see me when I was singing at a place called Keone's. And just like we're doing right now, we don't have a script. Everything was extemporaneous. My music is extemporaneous. So I'm singing a song, and if I don't remember the words, I'll just sing a song like, I'm singing this song, and I want to sing it to you, because I don't know the words of anything I'm saying, but you and you and you and you, I hope you understand that what I say ain't Portuguese, it's Hawaiianese to you. What I'm doing, I don't understand.
Can you believe that?
So you
that
just do
amazing?
something. Yeah, well, you just do something.
That. Well, yeah, but that's a talent.
And it's a little bit silly, but it gets me off the hook, and it's musical. Now Jack saw me do this, and he said, "Mr. Borges, Jimmy, I want to talk to you." And so we go back. And he says, "Why don't you audition for some of our shows?" And I said, "Well, I'm not into acting that much, Mr. Lord. I'm not crazy about acting." And then he said to me, "Look, if you can do on camera what you just did up there, what it does for us is that your extemporaneous, whatever you called it, can make it so that we don't have to cut. We don't have to...
because it's all ad-lib.
Yeah.
You're really doing an ad-lib.
And so you're making dialogue. You're saving us money. You'll be saving us money by doing that."
You were very successful at that, too.
And it worked, yeah.
I know. For many years.
Yeah.
You had gigs going with them. I mean, every now and then you see Jimmy Borges on
I've been
right
a
on.
working actor since 1972.
Wow.
And I get a nice pension from Screen Actors Guild every year, and a musicians union, and Social Security, and whatever money I make on the outside.
Wow. Jimmy, I have a question from a viewer asking me, what are you doing now? Now, don't forget, this guy's going to be 80, so give him a little bit of a break. Go ahead. What are you doing now?
I'm in the middle of a recording project with Mountain Apple. I'm the first jazz singer that Mountain Apple is recording.
Yeah, they're only Hawaiian music.
Yeah.
Right?
Robert Casimiro and Brother Is and all that. And now they got Jimmy Borges, and they're doing jazz with me. And so tonight, I'm going back. I'm recording tonight again. And we'll probably have another month of recording and sweetening. And that's one of the projects. I'm going to San Francisco to perform at the Asian American Film Festival there. And because I worked in a nightclub, and they want, I'm the last living remnant of that era. And I'm a pioneer in part of that. And so they want me back in San Francisco. And then in May, I'm going to go back to San Francisco to do a special show for the Chinese who built the railroads.
Oh my gosh.
150 years since they built the railroad.
Wow.
And they wanted me to do a show. And the reason they're bringing it back is because I'm mixed. I'm Portuguese, Hawaiian, Chinese. And my Asian blood right now is holding strong, and they want to take advantage of that. And because I worked the Chinese nightclubs and what have you, besides the jazz clubs in New York and Las
I'm going to
Vegas.
test you on air.
Sure.
And I don't know if you remember, but you actually worked in a club in Montreal, Canada.
Yes.
When I was there during, I think it was Expo 67 or something like
Yes.
that. What was the name of the club?
There was A La Porte Saint Jean.
And Bill Wong.
And Bill Wong's. That's right.
Am I right?
Yes, it was Bill
You
Wong.
see, this comment is for my wife, Sue. Honey, I still have a memory. It may not be great all the time, but I do remember stupid things
It was
like
Bill Wong.
You were playing at Bill Wong.
Yes.
I remember that.
And at the Chateau of Frontenac.
Yes,
also.
oh my gosh, memories, memories and memories.
I learned my first French in there. Quand j'ai vu le sourire de mon amour, j'ai confondu la nuit avec le jour. So I do that here in Kalihi, and all the local, I was singing over there, and the local guys are looking at me like, what?
They
What?
have no clue.
What you singing about?
They have no clue. It's a foreign language, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
So it is.
You know,
it
and
is.
singing in Kalihi at the nightclub over there. But I thought it was funny.
Jimmy, we got to take a break,
Okay.
and then we're going to come back with some photographs.
Oh my.
And then we're also going to talk about you've had cancer,
Yeah.
a very serious, survived cancer, and we're going to talk about what that has done for your life, because it's changed your life.
Yes, it has.
So we will talk about that after the break.
Okay.
I'm Seymour Kazimirski on Seymour's World at ThinkTech Hawaii. We'll be back in a minute.
Hi, aloha. My name is Chris Leatham, and I host a show called The Economy and You. The show plays every Wednesday at noon, and on my show, I bring on guests who are interested or working in the technology space. And so I'd like you to come and watch the show and learn with me about all the sort of exciting things that we're doing in Hawaii to build and grow our economy ecosystem. So I'd like to say aloha, and I look forward to seeing you on the show. Thank you.
Aloha, Yappers. This is your host, Kingsley, for the Yap Show. Every Friday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch us here live, ThinkTech Hawaii, and then later on, we upload to our YouTube channel. We talk about youth issues, policies, youth programs, and how to transition yourself into adulthood.
But this was like a sign, I guess. Hey, Mike's like, hey,
Right.
now's your chance to go back to school, which I'm doing.
Catch us here again live, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Aloha.
Hi, welcome back to Seymour's World. I'm Seymour Kazimirski. I'm smiling because one of my very best friends is here with me. He was our first guest on Seymour's World, which is well over a year ago. And I wanted him to come back so many times, and believe it or not, he's very, very busy, and I couldn't get him back. So this was the first occasion that we were able to bring him back to Seymour's World. Jimmy Borges. What an amazing, amazing career you've had. The friendship I've had with you over all the years.
I love you a lot. I love you a lot.
Well,
you're a good man. You're a good person, and you have such wonderful. You give out to everyone you meet what should be done by everyone. It's just such an easy thing to be caring and sharing, and that's what I saw in you from the very first time. And that seems simple, but it doesn't seem to work that much, does it?
Well, it does if you want it to, and it has to come from within.
Yeah.
And I credit my mother with that, because that's
I loved
exactly
her.
the way exactly the way she was.
And she was tough.
One very
Boy.
tough. I'm nowhere near as tough as she was.
Oh, she was
but
tough.
she was an amazing person who I think I have a lot of what she was like,
you're very
and I
much
try
like
to
her.
give back now because I've been fortunate enough to be able to give back. So
very much like
I
her.
trust that that's one of the main impetuses for my future, is to do all the foundation work that I do. I want to look at some of your pictures, Jimmy.
Okay.
So let's see if Zuri can bring them up. Oh my God,
goodness.
who is that young man?
Oh my goodness.
Who is
I
that,
remember
Jimmy?
him
Yeah,
and
you haven't changed
Funny
that
hair.
much, Jimmy.
I,
Look at that.
Well, for me, I looked at it and says, "Who's that man?" That is Gabe Balthazar and myself.
Yes.
And the background, that looks like,
Do you know where you were playing?
yeah, that was at the Paradise Lounge
Oh my gosh.
at the Hilton. So that would be about 1989 to 90.
Yeah, I was going to
92.
say somewhere in the
Between
80s,
89 and 92, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And with one of the world's greatest
He was
saxophone
an
players,
amazing musician.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Gabe
amazing.
Balthazar, one of the best.
So, when you talk about that type of music, was he playing jazz as well with you?
Oh yeah, he was the epitome of jazz. He was with Stan Kenton. He was a lead sax player with the Stan Kenton Orchestra, and he traveled around the country, and he was a big star. He was a major star nationally,
Jimmy, there are so few jazz musicians here in the state of Hawaii, let's face it.
Very true.
And you've been able to hold on to that. You, Janai, for instance, there's still a few left. It's a tough way to make a living here because everybody believes in tiny bubbles and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Basically, you're in a Hawaiian environment, and so you have Hawaiian music as an expectation. I came in when jazz had a niche. I created a niche back in 1970 of about 8 to 10% of my market I had good, strong foundation and followers of my kind of music, and it took good care of me and supported me very, very well. And because it was 1970 and a lot of nightclubs and all that, I maintained that and I kept it going year after year after year after year. And now this is 2015. I have built up such a long-standing record of being consistent in my kind of music that I can basically call my shots, because when somebody thinks of me, they think of me in one genre.
Right, the
basically,
jazz.
Yeah. And acting or whatever. You know,
and that's why Wayne Harada, in his column, I love the expression, keeper of the flame.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful expression.
That was very kind,
because that is truly what you have done for jazz here in Hawaii.
Have.
You are the one. You are, I mean, it's hard to believe for people who are on the mainland or watching this in Europe or Asia, it's hard to believe that one person can be that strong. But Hawaii is a very small area. There's 1 million people here. And for jazz to survive with all the Hawaiian music and pop music and rock music and reggae and all that kind of stuff.
And beaches.
This guy right here. Yeah, this guy right here is the one who has kept it going, which I think is wonderful.
Because I'm a mixture. I'm respected as a Hawaiian because my family was in politics and all kind of stuff. So they knew the family name from a long time ago before I moved away. But I was, like I say, I was born here, raised here till I was almost 12, moved to the mainland, absorbed what I learned in the mainland, my music, my jazz, and be with some of the finest jazz players in the world. I got a chance to work with them. My mentors are people like Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Nat King Cole. These are people who took me under their wing when I was in Las Vegas when I was 22 years old. And they helped me in ways, boy, Frank, you know, Sammy Davis looked at me one time when I was singing, he says, "Borges, what the are you doing? Sing that song. Sing the song." He got on my case because I was fooling around or I wasn't doing it properly. It made me cry. I was a kid, but I learned. It was one of the biggest lessons of my life. But they cared enough to get on my case to tell me what not to do. And he said, and he came up to me afterwards and said, "You know what, if I didn't like you singing, I wouldn't have said anything. I could care less." He said, "But you got a good voice, you can sing, and you're doing stupid things. You're singing a Cole Porter song, and Cole Porter was a genius. Are you a genius?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Well, then pay respect to the genius. Sing his song properly."
Very interesting the way he phrased that. Excellent, Jimmy.
Pay respect to the genius.
Excellent, excellent. You know, I try to do that with a lot of my mentoring, and I try to make them understand that if they can do it the way they think it should be done, they will do it much better.
Yes,
which means try not to interpret it too much. But do it the way it should be done. If you're writing a business plan, for instance, write it with all the knowledge that you have of how to write a business plan. Don't think you can just slough off a little bit. And,
can't do it.
You know, you can't do it. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
It's those little nicks and cracks and all that that's going to get you in trouble a year from now.
Right.
In a contract.
Jimmy, we have to give credit where credit is due.
Yes.
And Vicky, I want you to get the credit.
Oh, I love her.
Because this guy, we met Vicky, if you remember, in Trapper's Lounge. Sue and I went down there to dance. And we met Vicky there with you, and you guys were just dating as well at the time. I think it was 1985. That's 30 years ago, Jimmy.
And we started in 1982. And I'm 22 years older than she is.
Right.
We've been together now 33 years.
I know.
33 years like you. And she's the great love of my life.
Look at the screen, Jimmy.
Oh.
There she is. There is your
Look
woman.
at that. And she's so smart, that pretty girl with those big dimples. She's so smart.
She's not just smart, she's a very caring individual.
And she's lovely.
And I find
she always
that,
tells the truth.
yes,
She
and I
always tells
always
the truth.
find, Jimmy, that she's very balanced. She doesn't try to take advantage of situations that, you know, you're in. She's just a very calm individual, and I like that about her.
Yeah.
And I think Sue is exactly the
She's
same
like Sue.
with me. You know, I'm the guy who's all the way out there and all
We're
that stuff.
gregarious. That's
Yeah.
part of our life. That's
Yeah,
who we are.
yeah, yeah, and it's great. Now, you also have a daughter,
Yes.
and she's in Japan, or is she?
The joy of my life.
And where is she?
She's in Los Angeles.
Oh, in LA now.
They have their own business. She's a videographer. She
Oh.
and her husband. She was a very a successful model and heavy metal rock and roll singer in Japan.
I remember that.
Yeah, and she did very, very well, but they were killing her. They were making her work 20 hours out of 24 and all. My daughter she was down to 80 pounds
Ooh.
and all that. And I said, come home now. Everything is over, but you're not going to do that anymore. I said, you're losing your health.
So she came here, or she went straight
She
to
went
LA?
back to LA and all that. I said, you know, we're going to take your money, we're going to invest it and all that, and we keep it in, you know, that's
And
it.
it's worked
And
out
it's doing
well.
great.
That's wonderful.
It's doing great.
Now, you have a connection to, I think, one of the most famous singers in the world, and that's Frank Sinatra.
Mm-hmm.
And your connection to Frank Sinatra goes not just while he was alive, it's even after. After he
Yeah.
died, there's a connection. Could you describe how you met him? I mean, everybody knows Frank Sinatra. What was the method of how you established that type of relationship?
The first time I met him, I went to Las Vegas. Shirley MacLaine took me to Las
Shirley
Vegas.
MacLaine. my
Shirley
God.
MacLaine. She and her husband had a show in Las Vegas, and it was called Holiday in Japan. And I went there. They liked me in San Francisco, and they took me to Las Vegas to replace the star of the show, which was James Shigeta. He went to do a movie. So they took me there for a short period of time. And I went there, and I was really excited. This is 1959. And I got there, and my first night in the audience was Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Nat King Cole, Tony Bennett,
Oh.
Vic Damone, Joey Bishop, and all these guys
Oh.
in the front table. And I'm a 22-year-old kid. I don't know what I'm doing. I was scared. Well, I was scared. I was nervous. And so I come walking out, and I'm singing, and I'll, love is a many-splendored thing. It's the April rose. So that kind of thing, right? And now I have my mouth is so dry. And so my lips are stuck. They're stuck to my gums. So at the end of the show, Shirley MacLaine goes back. She talks to the guy, Sinatra, and all that. Says, well, what do you think of our kid? He said, this guy sings really good. He's a good singer. He says, but you know what I really noticed? What a great smile he had.
That was
And
because
I said, surely that wasn't a smile. I said, my lips were stuck to my gums.
Oh, my
my mouth
gosh.
was so dry. And then we started laughing about that.
but then he basically adopted you and allowed you to. You're the only person who's allowed to use his
Two
music.
uses, yeah. He liked me and he taught me how to phrase. Frank Sinatra was the most important singer of the 20th century. And the reason for that being he taught people like Tony Bennett, Jack Jones, Vic Damone, Michael Bublé, et cetera, everybody, Jimmy Borges, right down the line, how to phrase, how to tell a story. Telling a story is the most important part of a song. That's 98% of a song. It's not just a pretty melody or whatever the melody is. It's telling the story. That's what people remember for the rest of their lives. And he taught me how to do that. And that's why he was the most important male singer. And from that time on, you know, he took a liking to me, and he allowed me to use his classical Sinatra arrangements, the I've Got You Under My Skin, and New York,
Can you
and
do one?
My
Can
Way.
you just do a few bars?
Night and
Go ahead.
day,
Go ahead.
you are the one. Mm-hmm. Only you beneath that moon, under the sun. And whether near or whether far, it's no matter where you are, I think of you night and day. So,
Wow.
thank you.
Wow. You know, this is such a pleasure, Jimmy.
It's a
Such
joy.
pleasure.
It's a joy being
I
with
had
you.
somebody just ask me if you could do Fly Me to the Moon after the break, if you
Of
can.
course, I
Well,
can.
look, they've obviously heard it before. That's
Okay.
why they're asking. We're going to take a short break. I'm Seymour Kazimirski with one of my best guests ever. Jimmy Borges is with us.
Also known as Jimala Kazimirski.
Yes, I call him Jimala too. On Seymour's World at ThinkTech Hawaii. We'll be back in a minute.
We're here with Hunter Haviland because he is a member of our panel on February 26th. We're going to talk about Hawaii, the state of unfunded liabilities. Hi, Hunter.
Hi, Jay.
So what does it look like from your point of view, being on that panel?
Well, part of my work is with the Asia Pacific Center for Regenerative Design. And so with that, we're kind of taking a broader notion of when we talk about liabilities, what are some of the external factors, right? So if we're talking about sustainability across the globe, resilience to natural disasters, our use of natural resources, and how those things do or don't get incorporated into our current understandings of the state of the state.
Yeah, and thus the liabilities and thus the economy. Yeah. So that's February 26th. It's a Thursday. It's at Laniakea. It starts at 12 noon. Come down 11:30 for lunch. Check out our website to sign up, thinktechhawaii.com. Hunter is one of 7 speakers. We'll be trying to talk to some of the others too, let you know what they're going to do. And sign up. We'll see you there. It'll be important. It's one of the most important things we can think of. Aloha.
Aloha.
Hi, I'm Seymour Kazimirski on Seymour's World at ThinkTech Hawaii. My guest today is Jimmy Borges, probably, or I would say, the most famous singer in Hawaii today. He's not just a singer, he's a mentor to many, many young people. He's an actor. He has done more in his years than I have known any other musician in this state. So I'm just pleased to call him my friend. That's, to me, a very important part. Jimmy, something happened, of course. You developed cancer, what, 4 years ago, 5 years? What is it
Well,
now?
they discovered it back in 2011.
Right, so it's 4 years.
And it was a football-size cancer in my liver. And basically, that's a death sentence, as big as it was. And at my age, at that time, I believe I was 76 when they discovered it. And they took, they got rid of it. I really think one of the reasons I'm alive is that I looked at my life and I hadn't been cheated. I had a good life. I had a great life. Everything I wanted to do, I set out to do. One thing I regretted, selling my 1956 T-Bird.
Yes.
Other than that, the things that if I did anything wrong and all that, I always made sure I apologized. But my life was a great life. God gave me a very, very good life. And if it was going to end, it was okay. I was all right with that. And because I was strong about that, my doctor said we have a chance. And at my age, and because you really had to go way inside of me in my liver, take stuff out, jack my rib cage up to try to get to it because it was so large.
And all of it, Jimmy. When what I remember was visiting you and you had lost like 20, 25 pounds.
Closer to 35.
35 pounds. It was just awful. And I walked out of there and there were tears in my eyes. I was crying because he's such a good old friend. And I said, I'm never going to see this man again. I really felt that was the end. And then slowly but surely, the healing process, and you can call it divine intervention, you could call it the music in your life, you could call it your own interpretation of what you cheated death. But whatever it was, Jimmy, you came back. And you have changed your life with the way that you have come back.
The way I've changed my life is that I've refocused my priorities. A lot of it had to do with making sure that I recycled myself. I have 80 years of knowledge of living and performing. And I needed to get that out there. That cannot die with me. So what I do is mentor. I just put it on my Facebook. Anybody who wants to be mentored by me, I said I have all this information. If you want to learn anything, call me. I'm not charging anything, and we'll go and do it, and we'll set it up. But I want to work with professionals who are just getting started, who are thinking about making this a career. And that's who I would prefer working with.
You could see it. You could see it in this program. I don't know if you can focus on this. I don't know which camera's going to look at it.
Yeah,
but this is the Make 'Em Smile CD that Jimmy helped produce, and it's with the artists, some of the artists that you know, that have helped us make this program so successful. Jimmy, you and I went into this. We sat down with a napkin, I remember. And we talked about it. What do you think of the program and what it does?
Well, the program, what it's done, first of all, the primary foundational thought behind it was to make patients feel that they were important and that they were cared about. Besides their doctor probing, they had people out there who wanted to sing to them to make them happy. And that just because you were in bed all day long and nobody came to see you, maybe just your mom, that somebody came to sing a song to you. And there's nothing more beautiful than music. It helped heal them. But what we didn't realize, how much it helped heal the musicians.
And us.
And us.
You remember the first time you came?
Oh, we were crying.
The tears to see those children smile. It was absolutely amazing.
And a child in bed, and their mother would crawl into the bed with the child and hold it, and the child said, "You came to sing for me?" Oh, come on. I'm going to cry right now. But they didn't, who comes to sing for me? Nobody knows who I am, and you came to sing for me? Wow. And every one of these musicians who did that, and all that, what they took back home with them was a solid foundation of why they do what they do. Why they do what they do. Now they understand every song better than they've ever understood the songs. And now every one of them is a better musician and a better singer than they've ever been.
It's also something you taught them, Jimmy. You taught them to appreciate that the song is not just a song.
Yeah.
The song is a journey. It takes the patient, when they listen to that song, it takes them away from the pain and into a whole world that is not there when you're in the hospital, obviously. It is just beautiful.
It's a wonderful trip.
I find what you did with this program in getting
what we did
with this program is absolutely amazing, because the musicians sign on and they say, I can play once a month. I have musicians who are playing 3 and 4 times a month because they really they like what it does for them as much as what it does for the kids.
And what you've done is made this such a desirable product that the musicians, now they're finding it, not is it only good for their heart and soul to give their music to those who are in need, but they're finding it that it's a very good career move. It's good for the career because now they're getting known for it by this thing that you put out. This is free. And they're all of a sudden listen to the music by Johnny Helm, Lani Kai Moon by Mango Season, and all of these. Make It Rain by Tahiti Ray, Augie Ray's daughter.
Right.
These are big stars now. Janai, one of the great jazz singers in Hawaii.
She made
Make
that
Them
song.
Smile, Janai.
She did her own song. She wrote the song.
Yeah. And so that's, all these people are getting involved with this because it is also propitious. It's good for them too.
Jimmy, what are we going to do for Hawaii's music? Because Hawaii's music, sometimes ebbs and flows, obviously. There's some guys who come to the top, like Brother Is and the Casimiro brothers.
Yes.
And, you've been around for a long time.
And what all of us have done, like Brother Is, the Casimiros, myself, Kelly Reichel, etc., we've been around for such a long time, we have become known entities. People know our names, and so they know they're going to get a certain kind of product from us. The product is respected because we've proven ourselves over a long period of time. But for the younger ones that are just getting started, they need to prove themselves every time they strum, every strum and every word that comes out, and every job that they have.
Give them that inspiration, Jimmy.
What they have, it's that thing that I talked about before, that you have to believe. There's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing. If you believe that you can fail, you will. It's real simple. You will. Because the odds of really making it, if you're going to just go on straight odds, are fantastically against you. But when you believe that I'm going to make it and I'm going to be somebody, I'm going to do something in this world because I was meant to do it as a singer, you will. That means that you don't see stop signs, you see speed bumps. And you keep going until you find everything fitting. That's very simple sounding, and you don't know. Maybe it's 2 years, 2 months, maybe 10 years. Nobody knows the length of time. But if you're willing to put in the time, you'll do it. And if you're not willing to put in the time, find another job.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just a lesson for musicians.
Everything.
It's a lesson for anybody who wants to become successful in their life. That you don't have to make millions of dollars to be successful, because happiness and success are tied in together.
It sure is.
And if you can become happy doing whatever you're doing at the level that you're doing it at, you will live a wonderful life.
You sure
If
is.
you are
Sure
always looking for more all the time, it's hard to keep going that way. It's very, very difficult.
It's a self-defeating kind of journey sometimes, because you don't have an end result. The end result should be, I'm doing what I started off to do. I want to be a professional singer, and I'm singing and I'm getting paid for it. That's it. And if somebody says, wow, you sound like Frank Sinatra, or you sound like Tony Bennett and all that, and they want to make you a bigger star, so be it. That's fine. But that's not part of the deal. Part of the deal is doing what you do and making it a career.
And enjoying it.
And enjoying it.
Of course.
It's a passion.
Jimmy, I have one more picture to show you.
Okay.
Let's see if we can bring that last picture up. It was at La Pietra.
Oh.
Here it is. Now, this was just after you. I couldn't believe
5.5
when
weeks.
Jimmy told me you were how many?
5.5 weeks after being in the hospital for 10 days, and they took out a football-sized tumor from my liver.
Can you believe that? He was able to perform at La Pietra 5.5 weeks after major surgery.
And they had tubes in my throat for 2 weeks. And I was smart enough to talk to the doctors. I said, I want small gauge tubes because I'm planning on singing. I swear to God, that's what I told them. I said, I want to sing right after I get out of the hospital. I said, I'm planning on singing. So give me the smallest gauge tubes there that won't irritate my vocal cords. And they did. And when I sang on that, I was, my vocal cords weren't at its best, but I was happy.
You know, you are one of the most inspirational people I know. And I know a lot of people around the world. And I can honestly say, Jimmy, that the inspiration you give to me and to my family and to others around you and all the people who are watching this show today, it is absolutely amazing. It is just wonderful because you have something that a lot of people don't have, and that is the experience of being close to death and realizing that there's more to it than just making a living. It's giving back.
I saw the white light.
You saw
the
that
white
white
light,
light, yeah. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you,
thank you
Seymour.
so much for coming back and joining us. It's been terrific.
Just a short part. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
In other
words, I love you, Seymour.
Thank you. I'm Seymour Kazimirski on Seymour's World at ThinkTech Hawaii. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. Aloha.
Aloha.